Welcome to 13th video on compressible fluid flow. My name is Nitish Tiyar, Assistant Professor from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology. In this video, we will study how a convergent divergent duct behaves towards changing back pressure. This will help us to understand the performance of CD nozzle and design it accordingly for various applications, especially in the case of rocket engines. The figure shows the experimental setup. We have a reservoir in which the fluid is kept at a particular temperature and pressure. Since the fluid is stagnant, we can take the conditions of fluid as stagnation conditions. A converging diverging duct is connected to the reservoir. At the other part of the CD duct, we have a settling chamber which is connected to a vacuum pump through a pipe fitted with a valve. At the settling chamber, we will have the back pressure set by the vacuum pump. Along the exit plane, we will have the exit pressure PE. At the throat, we will have the throat pressure PTH. Initially, when the valve is closed, the pressure throughout the experimental setup will be the same and equal to the stagnation pressure of the fluid. There will be no flow, and in the pressure versus length graph, we can represent it by a straight line. The exit plane pressure, the back pressure, all will be equal to the stagnation pressure of the fluid. As we open the valve, the pressure inside the settling chamber reduces. Hence, we set a back pressure value which is less than the stagnation pressure of the fluid. Let's say the value is PB1. Because of this, the fluid starts flowing from the reservoir into the settling chamber through the CD duct. When it enters the CD duct, first it passes through the converging portion. There, the converging duct acts as a nozzle and it experiences reduction in pressure and increase in velocity. This is shown by the graph here. And at the throat, it comes to a particular value of Mach number. If the Mach number is less than 1, then a subsonic flow will be entering a diverging duct. Hence, the diverging duct will act as a diffuser. The flow will get compressed and the pressure will increase such that at the exit of the CD duct, the pressure will be equal to the back pressure so that it flows smoothly into the settling chamber. Here, the CD duct doesn't act as a nozzle, instead it acts as a venturi. Now, if we reduce the pressure further, we see that the pressure also reduces to a greater extent. The flow is further accelerated, but still it remains in the subsonic region. Hence, there will be diffuser action in the diverging duct, and it will be such that at the exit plane pressure, it will be equal to the new back pressure, say PB2. Now, if we go on decreasing the pressure, further, we reach a particular value of back pressure when the Mach number at the throat becomes equal to 1. Now, this is a critical point. From here, the flow can either move as a subsonic flow or as a supersonic flow. This is determined by the value of back pressure PB3. Now, when the fluid is at Mach number equal to 1 at the throat, it is having a value P star. The P star value is less than that of the value of PB3. if this difference is very high, then the adverse pressure gradient against which the fluid has to flow is very high. Because of this, the fluid will continue to flow in the subsonic flow regime, so that the duct will act as a diffuser and it will increase the pressure to PB3 and then smoothly flow into the settling chamber. Now here the fluid is having very high velocity. It will have the inertia to continue its motion. But the value of PB3 is such that it is creating a very adverse pressure gradient that the fluid is forced to stop accelerating and start decelerating through the duct so that it can smoothly flow into the settling chamber. So even though Mach number becomes equal to 1 at the throat, we see that the duct is still acting as a venturi because the back pressure conditions creates very adverse pressure gradient and the flow takes the easiest path, that is decelerating and smoothly merging into the settling chamber condition. So the exit plane pressure will be equal to the new back pressure PB3. At the value of PB3, the Mach number is equal to 1 at the throat. Hence, we have choked flow through the CD duct, and the mass flow rate is maximum for the given condition. So further reduction in back pressure doesn't create any change in the converging portion of the duct. The flow proceeds through the same points as in the previous case and comes to the point where Mach number becomes equal to 1 at the throat. From here, there is a deviation in flow. This is because there is a reduction in back pressure from the previous case. In earlier case, the adverse pressure gradient magnitude was responsible for the flow to decelerate and create a diffusion action. In this case, the condition of the pressure at the throat remains the same, that is P star, but the back pressure has reduced to a lower value. Because of this, the magnitude of adverse pressure gradient now faced by the fluid at the throat is less. Because of this and the high inertia it possesses, because of high velocity, the fluid starts accelerating into the duct. But this acceleration doesn't last long because as the fluid accelerates, the pressure reduces. And at a particular point within the diverging portion, a situation arises when the pressure of the fluid is very less compared to the back pressure PB4. A highly adverse pressure gradient is again created inside the diverging portion. But the fluid has traversed a certain length of the duct and a smooth transition from this particular point is not possible. This results in a discontinuity in the flow because of which there is a sudden increase in pressure. The sudden increase in pressure is such that after the discontinuity, the flow passes through the diverging duct in a smooth manner and flows into the settling chamber. This discontinuity, we can see that transfers the fluid from supersonic state to subsonic state. Then the subsonic flow passes through the diverging region, the diffusion action takes place and it flows smoothly into the settling chamber. This continuity is known as a shock wave. A shock wave is a discontinuity that occurs in a supersonic flow when there are adverse flow condition within the supersonic flow. It can be in the form of adverse pressure gradient, or it can be any blunt object present in its path. So the discontinuity takes the supersonic flow directly into subsonic flow. Because of this, there is a sudden increase in pressure, and since it occurs instantaneously, the change in entropy is huge across this discontinuity. So there is a loss of available energy of the fluid because of this discontinuity. We will discuss and learn about the various features of this discontinuity in detail in the coming videos. Now, moving back with our experiment, when we further reduce the back pressure from PB4 to PB5, we see that the flow again takes the similar curve for the converging part, then it starts accelerating, but here the back pressure is less than the previous case, so from here also it continues to accelerate. But further downstream, the pressure reduces to such a scale that the adverse pressure gradient is set, because of which the discontinuity again arises, and after the discontinuity the flow becomes subsonic and passes through the diffuser with diffuser action causing increase in pressure and flows smoothly into the settling chamber. When we again reduce this back pressure, we see that the discontinuity will be occurring further downstream. And we go on reducing the back pressure till a particular position is reached when the back pressure becomes PB7. At this particular position, we see that the shock will exist at the exit of the nozzle. That is, we have supersonic flow through the entire length of the diverging duct, but there is the discontinuity appearing at exactly at the exit plane of the nozzle, because of which after the nozzle we will have a subsonic flow. When the back pressure value was PB7, we see that the flow accelerates continuously from the beginning to the end of the CD duct. But at the end, the exit plane pressure is very small value compared to the value of PB7, because of which there will be a shock wave, and then after the shock wave the flow goes smoothly into the settling chamber. Now, if we further reduce this back pressure value to a value say PB8, the fluid will again accelerate through the nozzle and takes the same curve as that of the previous case, but since the pressure value has been reduced to a smaller value, the shock wave start moving outside of the plane of nozzle. So we will have supersonic flow at the exit plane of the nozzle, but since the shock exists just outside the nozzle, the flow gets again disturbed and is represented by the curve number 8. Here the exit plane pressure is less than the back pressure value. This condition is referred to as over expanded condition. Now when we further reduce the back pressure to a value say PB9, we reach a condition where the exit plane pressure PE7 becomes equal to the back pressure PB9. That is, we have the exit plane pressure same as that of the back pressure, and the flowing fluid is continuously accelerated through the CD nozzle. Hence, we have a supersonic flow at the exit of the diffuser that flows smoothly into the settling chamber, which is represented by the smooth line number 9. When we further reduce the back pressure, we see that the nozzle will again expand the fluid through the same curve, and it will reach a exit plane pressure PE, which is equal to PE7, but at the outside the settling chamber pressure has gone down. Here the exit plane pressure is greater than the settling chamber pressure, because of which there is a sudden expansion of fluid just outside the exit of the nozzle. And this, as we discussed in the previous slide, is referred to as under expanded condition of nozzle. We have seen how a CD duct behaves towards change in back pressure. Based on this, we have obtained a lot of results. Initially, the CD duct acts as a venturi and there is no nozzle action. Further, we see that we get choked flow in the duct, but there are presence of dissipative forms like shock waves, and because of which these two conditions are never considered in the design of a CD nozzle. The other important results that we have is when the exit plane pressure is greater than back pressure, when exit plane pressure is equal to back pressure, and when exit plane pressure is less than back pressure. First, let us see when the exit plane pressure is greater than back pressure. If such condition exists, then the flow has to move into a low pressure region suddenly. For that, there will be a sudden expansion of the flow just outside the exit plane of the nozzle, because of which the flow diverges. We say that the nozzle has under expanded. Next, the condition is when the exit plane pressure is equal to back pressure. In this case, the fluid flows smoothly into the settling chamber. There is no flow disturbance. The streamlines are parallel to each other and are of the same cross-section area as that of the exit plane of the nozzle. Here we get supersonic flow, and also the nozzle is choked. This is referred to as fully expanded nozzle. Next, we have the exit plane pressure less than the back pressure. In this case, there are shock waves that exist at the region just outside the nozzle exit plane, because of which the flow gets converged inwards. And we know that the shock waves are highly dissipative in nature. There is a high change in entropy across the shock waves, and because of which the energy loss is very high. So in all the three cases, we have choked flow, and a subsonic flow is successfully accelerated to a supersonic flow. But in underexpanded nozzle, there is a divergence of flow, and in overexpanded nozzle, there is convergence of flow and presence of shock wave. In fully expanded nozzle, we have smooth flow with maximum mass flow rate and supersonic condition at the exit. Hence, the fully expanded condition is taken as the design condition. Now, if we have to choose between a condition of underexpanded nozzle or overexpanded nozzle, the underexpanded nozzle always has an upper hand over overexpanded nozzle. Even though that flow is diverged and a part of energy is lost due to the divergence, there are no dissipative forces like shock wave present in the stream. Whereas in overexpanded nozzle, there are shock wave present in the stream, because of which the energy losses in an overexpanded nozzle will be higher than that of the underexpanded nozzle. So we will always choose underexpanded nozzle over overexpanded condition of the nozzle.